Okay, this is Finance 1011, practice question for the end of Chapter 2, Time Value Money. So this question, you're going to place $20,000 in a savings account paying annual interest of 6% compounded quarterly for 3 years, and then move it into another savings account that promises to pay 9% compounded monthly. What is the balance at the end of 6 years? So this becomes a two-part problem, and it's important to draw and understand your timeline. So you can see for the first 3 years, you're going to get 6% compounded quarterly. So you got to set up your parameter. PY in that case is going to equal 4. And we're in the ending mode for the calculator, okay? So at the end of 3 years, that's year 1, and that's year 2, at the end of 3 years, we have to calculate how much money we have, okay? And in the meantime, it's going to be compounded quarterly, so each year is split up into 4 quarters, okay? So therefore, we can see if we bring up the calculator, starting from the left to right, what is our N? Our N is going to equal the 3 years times the quarterly, so it's actually 12 periods within that 3 years, okay? Let's bring up the calculator, we'll move it over here so we can keep looking at it. The IY for the first scenario is going to be 6%, and the present value is that initial 20,000 that we're going to invest. So we're going to make that a negative, and just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Payment is going to equal 0 because it's just the initial 20,000 coming out of our pocket, and then we're going to solve for the future value. And so you can see this becomes a two-part problem because after the first 3 years, you're going to get 9% and it's compounded monthly. So that's going to be for year 4, year 5, and then year 6. But along here, the periods per year, PY is going to equal 12. I'm not going to draw all those 11 lines in there, but it's going to be compounded monthly, and the IY is going to change to 9%, okay? So what you're actually doing in this problem is you're calculating the future value for the first 3 years, and that number becomes your present value for the next 3 years, and then you know how much you have at the end of the 6 years, okay? So here, when I do the present value, it's going to come from here, the future value from the first calculation. The payment is still going to be 0, and then finally, we're going to calculate the future value for the end of the 6 years, okay? Let's just do the first 3 years. Let's just check the calculator presets. It has to be set for quarterly. So second PY, nope, set for monthly. So that's going to be 4, enter, and then hit clear. Just double check sometimes. Second PY, yeah, we're set for quarterly. So let's just work our way across the calculator. 12N, 6 IY, $20,000 initial investment. It's out of my pocket, make it a negative. No payment, and compute the future value. I get $23,912.36. So as I said, that's how much we have at the end of the 3 years, $23,912.36. So that now becomes our present value for the second 3 years. So $23,912.36, okay? But in this case, the first variable that we need to adjust is going to be N. It's going to be the second 3 years, but now it's monthly, compounding monthly, so 3 times 12 is going to be 36. So let's just change the calculator preset to PY equals 12. So over here it says that it's going to be compounded monthly at 9%. So IY equals 9, and the PY equals 12. So second PY, we're going to change that to monthly. 12, we're going to hit enter, and now let's run through the calculation. So it's the second 3 years, second NN, we've got N equals 36. It's 9 IY because it's paying 9% per annum. Our present value is going to be 23,912.36. Make that a negative still, it's still out of our pocket. It's our present value. There's no payment, and we're going to compute the future value, and we've got 31,292 and 80 cents. Okay, so that's how much we're going to have at the end of the 6 years. So this is an interesting problem because we had to split it up into part 1, which was the first 3 years, and then part 2 for the second 3 years because we were changing the parameters. The compounding periods per year was quarterly for the first 3 years and then monthly for the second 3 years. So we had to figure out the total at the end of 6 years. So we had to do the calculation for the first 3 years, calculate the future value. That becomes our present value for the second 3 years, calculate the future value, and that's how much we have in the balance at the end of 6 years. And that's the end for this video. Thank you.